Oh, hi, Mark. So why specifically project management and leadership?
Because that's what the book is about.
Why is the book about that?
It's a made-up tale.
The 7 sacred lessons from the School of Hard Knocks.
This one was invented by a writer.
I learned the hard way. Actually, it was a good learning experience.
It's a total fabrication. It never happened.
It's the Hard Knock University podcast, where real talk meets real lessons, and we all graduate with honors in the School of Life.
Wretched, isn't it?
Calling all musicians and industry pros. Do you want to turn your hard knocks into breakthroughs? Well, season 2 of the Hard Knock University podcast is proud to be sponsored by SMG Academy, the ultimate music industry mentorship platform founded by 20-year veteran Mark Sebi. SMG Academy delivers real-world training from touring strategies to publishing secrets straight from the trenches of the Texas music scene. Whether you're an artist, a manager, a songwriter, it doesn't matter. SMG's courses and community will fast-track your success. Are you ready to level up? Visit smgacademy.online and use code HKU2025 for 15% off of your enrollment. SMG Academy, where hustle meets harmony. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning back into the Hard Knock University podcast. We're in the new and improved studio that got a glow up. We got new backdrops, multiple cameras. We're doing all kinds of different angles, so this should edit together real fun. I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Seth Caples, and the one and only, our sponsor for this season at SMG Music Academy. Excuse me, it's SMG Academy. Music is in Sebi Music Group Academy.
That's
Mark
right.
Sebi, the one and only. Welcome. It's awards week.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it is, man. I'm excited to be able to celebrate. I originally started the Texas Internet Radio chart 6 years ago, technically, because this is our 5th annual award show. And I will tell you this, man, when I started it with the heart and the intention of noticing as a performing artist that was pushing songs to radio myself, there was really not very many platforms other than like the Roots music chart, which never made any sense every time it came out, and a very few select others. Now, Roots, not talking trash about them, they got their own way. Every chart's different. Everybody does things differently. Yeah. There's room for everything. There's no right or wrong way to really do this. The fact that people take the time to do it, if anyone knew what really went behind these charts, like right before I hopped on here with you guys, guess what I'm doing? I could have froze like all the other charts do. I could have froze my chart this week. We have an award show. Nah, I'm not going to freeze this one, and I won't freeze the one that's due out Friday in our award show Sunday. But I originally started the Texas Internet Radio chart to help up-and-coming musicians have a place and a platform where they could be recognized for the work they do. Because let's face it, yes, we have a lot of artist development to do when we're first pushing to radio. You're 4 to 5 singles away. Honestly, unless you just got a jump start and a hell of a team and a lot of money behind you, you're 4 to 5 singles away from organically breaking any kind of scenes or doing any kind of damage. And really, you need that time to develop yourself as an artist, to develop your sounds before you go to that expensive studio. Don't be afraid to take the steps, but be very careful what you put out there and what you push to radio, because kind of the sync licensing thing with some of these PDs, you get one shot only. And if you ruin it, they're going to have hell, and so is your future radio promoter getting you back on that station. Mm-hmm. Yeah, excited about the award show. It's this Sunday at Goofy's. Hope you two will make it over there. You might have tickets waiting on you at the door if you can, so you can check it out, network, let people know what you're doing, maybe get some podcast guests, some artists that you could meet and stuff like that. We'd love to have you out.
I think I'll be there. By the time our listeners hear this, it will have come and gone, but
that's all right.
We'll be sure to update everybody and let y'all know how it went. So today, who better to talk about the leadership and project management skills of an artist manager, the most famous, arguably most famous artist manager in history, Colonel Tom Parker, who was not really named. He wasn't really a colonel. He wasn't really a Tom, and he damn sure wasn't a Parker.
Nope. What's even better is that the guy took a 50-50 cut, which is like highly unusual as of back then. Most of the managers
unheard of today.
10 to 20.
Just unheard of, period, man.
So yeah, 10 to 20% is pretty much industry standards. And
people
somehow,
cry about 10%, man.
oh, I don't do anything for less than 20 on a manager deal. Sorry.
Yeah. And we were texting about something, and I said, man, the big names have booking agents for a reason, because you let the talent be talented. Let the managers manage. You know what I mean? But don't get yourself a Colonel Tom Parker, and we'll talk about why.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, too. This is the really bad thing, too, Mark. They do need a booking agent so they can be an artist, but some of them aren't ready for that step yet.
Sure.
And we could talk about that later in another podcast, and it has to do with the way they carry themselves on and off stage. There's a certain level you got to get to where you realize that you cannot act like a jackass if you're going to have representation. If you want to do that, just be a weekend warrior, dude.
You could have just stopped right there. You can't act like a jackass, because that's just, it's universal to all careers. Even if you are talented, don't be a jackass. You know what I mean?
You got to remember where you came from, and being humble really takes you far as far as delivering that authenticity that you're going to need in order for you to be accepted and for fans to like you. If they feel like you're not authentic, man, you're done.
Yeah, 100%. So the movie is 2022's Elvis by Baz Luhrmann. It's got a 7.3 on the user ratings on IMDb. Elvis follows the story of infamous rock and roll star Elvis Presley, seen through the eyes of his controversial manager, Colonel Tom Parker. The film explores Elvis Presley's highs and lows and the many challenges and controversies he received throughout his career. Let's see. The week of June 24th, 2022, when this movie came out, the number one movie at the box office was Top Gun Maverick. Even though Elvis debuted strong, Top Gun Maverick was still dominating weeks after its May release. It remained at the top with incredible staying power, racking up over $1 billion globally. The number one song on the Billboard Hot 100 was As It Was by Harry Styles. The synth pop single from his album Harry's House was a summer anthem and ruled the charts for 15 weeks. The number one TV shows were America's Got Talent on NBC, and on Netflix, Stranger Things Season 4 was everywhere. Kate Bush's song Running Up That Hill saw a massive revival thanks to the show. And that was the season that we first met not Austin Butler, the actor who plays Steve Bender in this movie, Darcy Montgomery, who was also in Stranger Things. In major events, Roe v. Wade was overturned. On June 24th of 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court officially overturned Roe v. Wade, ending nearly 50 years of federal protection for abortion rights and shifting the battleground to state laws. The decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization sparked nationwide protests and a global media storm. There were no notable celebrity births, but a couple of months later, Khloe Kardashian had a surrogate son. And then in notable deaths, Tony Sirico, who played Polly Walnuts on The Sopranos, passed away a few weeks later on July 8th. So that's where the world was, at least the United States, in the week that this movie came out. I remember I liked Baz Luhrmann. He did Moulin Rouge. That was, I think, my first introduction to him. And then he did The Great Gatsby. And that was a really good take on The Great Gatsby. And so I like his work. And I think that he did a really good job of taking on this movie, because in the approach that they took, where they look at it through Colonel Tom Parker's eyes, the Colonel he calls himself a snowman. You got to mute the.
I hope so. You better ask the computer that.
Yeah, Baz Luhrmann is a showman, much Colonel Tom Parker, the snowman, and Elvis Presley himself was a showman. They were all about the glitz and the jewels and the bedazzling of their clothes and such. Where were you at in your life 3 years ago?
To guest and not have background noise or anything going on while we were. Yeah, actually, I was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do, because in 2021, when COVID hit, I had to rechange and restructure everything. I wasn't allowed to tour anymore. That was the mainstay of my income. I was still about to put another album out and do the whole radio push thing and get the band back out on another tour and everything. And COVID hit, and it was like, oh, crap. And I was like, this isn't going to last forever. Then when it went about 3 months, I said, guys, I'm pulling the plug on this. I got to focus my energy elsewhere. I had bills to pay, man. I had just pretty much gotten the chart off the ground and running really well. and the bills were rolling in for all the software and all the expenses. As you can imagine, you're an entrepreneur. There's a lot of costs to doing this stuff. Even a small podcast is costly, man. You got to pay for software. You got to pay an editor for time. I know your brother don't work for free over there.
Yeah, you need your Shure SMD 7DB. Call me, Shure. Let's talk.
So I was in the middle of one of the darkest places in my life, Mark. I was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do to maintain my lifestyle and the income I was used to. I did very well as a performing musician, not talking about, I was no Elvis, obviously. I wasn't a signed big major label artist, anything like that. I just independently found ways to make my shit work for me. And that's what I'm turning around and teaching in the SMG Academy, is how to turn into some profits off that stage. And you have to do that. And that's one of the things I really do admire about Parker, getting back to this movie. Boy, he had some really crazy ideas for that time and that period, but they were brilliant.
He absolutely did. And we'll get into them as they come up. My experience was quite opposite of yours. I had experienced pretty severe burnout by the end of 2019 and sold my company and went to work for a startup who ended up furloughing me when COVID hit. But summer of COVID for me was relaxation, man. I was smoking briskets on my Traeger at night. And then in the morning, I'd get up, make a whole bunch of tacos, go out on the lake on my boat and sell tacos. I was hitting all of the picker circles and playing music. I was writing. I wrote a ton of music. And I was going to the songwriter circles. And that's about the time that your name first came across my radar, because you had a songwriter's workshop at Goofy's on the north side of the lake. And I would always pop in there on days that you weren't around. And it would be a couple of other people that, you know, hey, do you know Mark? No, yeah, man, you got to meet Mark. So for months, I'm like, who the fuck is Mark Sebi? You know what I mean?
Oh my God. That's so funny you said that. So last year at the TCMCs, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Texas Country Music, TCMA, Texas Country Music Awards. I went with Drew Moreland and Kayla Jane, and we all hopped in Drew's limo, and we cruised on up there, and Drew hired a driver and everything. They brought this friend of theirs, Jess Russell, and she's obviously some kind of performer in New Braunfels. She seems really talented. Her and her brother do a gig together, a little duo thing. And she plays a lot of really good venues. So I'm assuming they're really good. I haven't got to see them. I've heard some of the recorded stuff. It's good, but I like to see a live show before I really speak.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're in the, after all the show and the shindig went down, make a long story short, we're all hanging out after party and after the awards show. And I had tagged her and sent her a friend request. And she just out of nowhere goes, who the fuck is Mark Sebi? It was like, and you just did the same thing. It was so fucking great, dude.
The same
and
tone
I threatened,
and everything. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did. And I threatened to do a podcast about it and call it, Who the Fuck is Mark Sebi?
Yeah, you should.
This is two. One more time, and I got to do it, man. The next random occurrence, it's a sign.
By then, it's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Well, rock and roll, man. Let's get into it. The movie opens up with Suspicious Minds, and neat take on it.
I have a question. Is this movie just a morphine trip?
100%.
The whole movie's just a morphine trip from Colonel Parker.
Yeah. So January 20th, 1997, Elvis Presley's former manager, Colonel Tom Parker, is on his deathbed. He suffered a stroke, and he's nursing a gambling addiction that has left him destitute. And he recounts how he first met the future king of rock and roll. In 1973, Parker was exposed as a fraud who took 50% of Elvis's income, worked him like a mule to support his own gambling addiction, and he's thought to be responsible for Elvis's death. And yes, he kind of snaps out of a fever dream from a morphine trip and goes on to start defending his side of the story. But you get that snowman, you first start seeing the snowman stuff that Baz Luhrmann seems obsessed with. And it feels like the whole point was just to come around to the Christmas special and really overstate what actually happened in reality at that Christmas special. But we'll get to that when we get to that part of the plot.
I just wanted to point out that this is an obvious morphine trip we're watching.
100%. 100%.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And you have that first snap of that scene where he says, the only thing that matters is that man gets on that stage tonight, which is a real thing that really did happen. it wasn't Elvis collapsing in a hallway so much as it was he wouldn't get the fuck out of bed because they were giving this guy drugs to sleep and then giving him drugs to wake up and perform.
By they, you mean
Dr. Nick and Colonel Parker. But yeah, it's all 100% a morphine hallucination. Tom Hanks has the dumbest accent in the fucking world in this movie. It's really hard, man. You have to start to look past it to enjoy the movie because at first it's like, what are you doing? Because for one thing, yes, Tom Parker was from Holland, but he did not speak like that at all. There's plenty of real recordings of Tom Parker speaking, and he had a traditional Southern accent. He sounded like some old dude from Virginia.
Yeah, he was probably one of those guys who had that typical, very occasional bleed through of his accent.
Yeah.
And Tom was not an occasional bleed through accent kind of a thing.
No, Tom leaned into it, man. It was bad. It was not his solely work for sure. Moving on, raised mostly by his doting mother, Gladys, Presley spends his childhood in the poorest parts of Mississippi. After his father was jailed for check fraud, he and his mother had to take up accommodation in the back part of town, finding an escape in the comic book adventures of Captain Marvel Jr. and especially in song. However, upon moving with his parents to Memphis, he is ridiculed by his peers due to his fascination with the African-American music of Memphis's Beale Street. At this time, Parker is a carnival huckster who fancies himself a modern-day P.T. Barnum. Although partnered with country singer Hank Snow, Parker immediately realizes Presley's crossover potential when he hears the white artist sounding black on the groundbreaking single That's All Right. Presley uses African-American rhythm in his songs. That night, he sees Presley at a Louisiana hayride performance, discovering a talented musician with strong sex appeal among the females with the way he moves and shakes his legs. Even now, Presley hung around the African-American parts of town and adapted their clothing and music styles in his performances. Presley was contracted by Sam Phillips of Sun Records, who wanted to record black music, only it wasn't selling like it should. Parker takes Presley on tour with Hank Snow, and soon Presley is the major attraction. Women start throwing themselves at Presley, and he starts having sex with them at his hotel room. He starts doing drugs as well as to keep up with his schedule. I have some problems with that synopsis.
Yeah, they didn't show that in the movie.
Some of it, yeah.
Last part, they start having sex with him and he starts doing drugs. The only point that they really touched on drugs was that scene where he's the only thing that's important is this man.
No, there's a scene where they're driving down the road in like an old 1950s car, and he's in the back seat, and one of the guys is like, "Here, Elvis, take this. It'll put some pep in your step." It's a scene straight out of Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
That movie.
We're going to. But my biggest problem with this synopsis is they take some liberties that even Baz Luhrmann didn't in the movie. It says Sam Phillips of Sun Records, who wanted to record black music. Sam Phillips recorded black music because he was in a part of Memphis that was very black, and black people would show up with money, and he needed to pay the rent. That's the reason Sam Phillips recorded black music. Now, when Elvis moseyed into Sun Records and recorded a song for his mother, Sam Phillips, to his credit, did recognize great talent and signed Elvis Presley. But the idea that, you know, and don't get me wrong, Sam Phillips is a pioneer in that he recorded and released all of these race records. But
yeah, but he
just did it. He was looking to do country music. He did the race records to pay the rent.
Okay. Maybe he did it because they were awesome.
Those certainly were awesome. They most certainly were. But the guy wanted to make a bunch of money, and the money was in country music. Mark, you didn't mute yourself again. I've got nothing coming from you over there.
He did.
I did. I was just chilling, dude, listening to you guys go on. And it really was a good thing that I host these things all the time, Seth. Okay. So here's the problem. I'm hosting these things all the time. So I'm always talking. So when somebody else invites me to come on one, I just shut up and let it roll until I'm asked to participate or it's something really good. Then I got to say,
let me write this down. I should take note.
I have you on this particular episode because I'm interested in what you have to say about this.
Okay. I'm going to start with this because while I was sitting there just reflecting on what you two were discussing about the whole scenario and how it all was breaking down and everything, it reminded me about the fact that we just had Mother's Day, right? My mother was probably the biggest Elvis fan in the world. And I was sitting there spacing out just for a second. And I was like, Mom, you would love this right here. You would be so into this right now. You would know everything. And you could probably, even if Mark made a mistake, you could correct him. She knew everything about Elvis. She had the best collection of Elvis records, CDs, 8-tracks. She had it all, dude. Cassettes. She had everything. And just like hearing this history, she used to talk about some of the stuff you're talking about. And I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And until a little bit later in life. And I don't know as much as you. You studied up on this big time. You've been preparing for this here exam. But I know little tidbits and pieces.
I do my homework for these.
I think that the guy, let's go here real quick, because that buyout in 73, that was a huge ass mistake. First of all, they sold out the catalog rights for only $5.4 million and split 50-50, right? And here's the thing. Today, that catalog is worth hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
But Parker was too busy prioritizing that short-term goal and seeing that money and not thinking in the long term what that legacy would leave behind.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, man, I think the guy was brilliant, but also an idiot, too, at the same time. I'm talking about Parker. And Elvis was no angel. We all know what it's like if you've ever you're in management, project management is probably no different than managing a band or working with musicians or people in the music
industry. There's so much overlap. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like herding cats with
it's herding cats.
Yeah.
Surfing chaos and herding cats. Yeah.
With a wet rope, bro. Yeah.
But to the Sam Phillips part of it, Sam needed to pay the bills. The African Americans were willing to pay to record records. And he played the cards he was dealt. And in doing so, became a legend.
Yeah.
Do you think that Sam Phillips was exploiting black people?
No, not at all. Let me tell you something. The demographics and location always is going to play a role for you as an artist, for you in the music industry, even doing podcasts, man. Where you come from, that's nothing to be ashamed of. And where you live is nothing to be ashamed of. That's just part of the reality of the life that you're living in. And that guy had to take opportunity, just like you have to take opportunity, Mark. Seth, you got to take opportunity and pay the bills. And you know what? I got to take it too. Now, there's some things I won't do, but I can't believe that they would think that, I don't know, if they even thought anything about racism.
Oh, 100%. Dude, this is 1950s Memphis, Tennessee. This is before the Civil Rights Movement. It's very much still segregated. To answer your question, 100%. Sam Phillips and Elvis Presley and every other white man in Tennessee exploited black people at the time. Elvis Presley never wrote a single song, but he's credited for writing a bunch of them that black people wrote. That's a fact.
Yep.
Which the movie pays
a
homage to.
Yeah, so getting back to the movie, Gary Clark Jr. makes a cameo as Arthur Cudrup and does this amazing mashup of Black Snake Moan, That's All Right, and I'll Fly Away. It's a great scene where you see the young Elvis be influenced by black music. And then we get to the point where he's playing in that pink suit on stage. He's got his hair slicked back in black. He's wearing makeup. He's wearing a pink suit, and he's got that nervous energy where he does the jiggle. And it's purely 100% nervous energy. I've been there. You've been there. Anybody who's been on stage, it's a damn good thing that you're playing an instrument because you've got pent up energy. The easiest way to get out is to bounce with the beat. But in that scene, you have all these girls discovering their sexuality for the first time, not sure if they're supposed to enjoy these feelings that they're feeling all of a sudden. It's really good cinematography from Baz Luhrmann. We get a Doja Cat song in there. That's weird, but it somehow works. So there's some cutaways to Beale Street, Lansky's, the tailor that worked off of Beale Street whenever, but before COVID, me and the wife went to one of the international blues challenges, and Lansky's was still there. They're not there anymore. Now they just have the one location inside of the Peabody Hotel. I might have that wrong, and somebody's going to let us know in the comments. But yeah, I got to see Lansky's, and if I wasn't so damn broke at the time, I totally would have bought one of them badass blazers that's very Elvis inspired. And I think that any musician on stage should be dressing in Lansky's threads on stage. That's my opinion.
Okay, I want to see you wearing it the next time you play. And if you're not, I'm going to call you out.
And once I start making enough money to where I can afford to buy the Lansky stuff, I most certainly will. We really start to get into Elvis's relationship with his mom. He was very much a mama's boy. So much so that I read that he used to take his mom with him on dates, hold his mom's hand when he's on dates with girls.
Now, who says that?
Somebody.
That's a pretty damn big claim there. I feel like maybe Seth and I could do some fact checking on that, but no,
I'm
it could
skeptical. I'm skeptical. Maybe he was just famous
It's Googleable.
and he liked to take his mom out to dinner sometimes. Right?
Yeah, Google that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see what.
But the movie does a good job in this exposition thing in early on where it's really moving fast.
It's very Baz Luhrmann.
Contrasting the slow Hank Snow country tunes with Elvis's rockin' stuff. And it's good stuff. But the idea that Elvis was out there specifically doing black music is false. He did a lot of country music early on in his career. And in fact, the black music that he did was a hillbilly country take on the blues rock stuff that he was hearing. It was brilliant. It was good stuff.
The movie was good at showing that he was straight up just inspired by that music.
Yeah.
Which is super relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Everything is inspired by something. Right?
Yeah, he was one of
the blues guys. God dang, man. And especially like that Mississippi Delta stuff, dude. That deep South, man. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Like, damn dudes, you can feel that stuff, man.
Yeah. And Elvis was of the age to have heard that Robert Johnson stuff, that stuff from, and he was close. He was born in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Did you know that Elvis?
He was from the Delta.
He was a twin.
No, he had another brother who died, but they weren't twins.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
I'm pretty sure they were twins because he was born like 35 minutes after his stillborn brother died.
This is Googleable.
We're going to Google this.
Yeah, no, this is Googleable. I think that, and I've read some theories about it too, and doing some research.
Elvis did have a twin.
Yep. And also that
named Jesse.
A lot of people think he was an alien, a star child.
Some people think he's still alive, but some people are cuckoo. Think the world's flat.
Yeah.
At a Ferris wheel, Parker meets with Presley and persuades him to let him take exclusive control of his career. He says that Parker would have to give up Hank and represent Presley exclusively, and thus argues for a higher share of earnings. He says they need a record company of national distribution and tells Presley to convince Sun Records to sell their contract to RCA. Rock stars need to have an available status, and hence Presley has to give up his girlfriend. Presley is made into a family business with Dad Vernon as its business manager. The entire family enters into a legally binding contract with Parker.
Commercializing Elvis effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the carnival scenes are fun. I find it fun that Colonel Parker can manipulate the Hall of Mirrors because he's a carny.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
And he sicks the carnies on Hank Snow. Give me some time to work over Elvis. And the carnies are like, run off. So about that record contract, though, RCA paid $35,000 to Sam Phillips of Sun Records for the rights to Elvis. That saved Sun Records. That was about $400,000 in today's money. And with that money, Sam Phillips went on to sign Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, Carl Perkins, and Jerry Lee Lewis. He bought a radio station because he had pissed off so many people by doing the race records that they wouldn't play his music on the radio. So he bought a radio station so he could get his music out there, his country music. And once he had money, he was able to get the white acts. So the story of Sam Phillips isn't played out correctly in this movie, but surely there would be a good movie about Sam Phillips one day, if there isn't already. This is the beginning of a meteoric ascent that sees the Presley family lifted out of poverty. Parker lands him a 7-movie deal in merchandise deals. The regional public is divided in their view of the singer, feeling that Presley's music will corrupt white children and stoke racial hostility. Segregationist Southern Democrat Mississippi Senator James Eastland calls Parker to an informal hearing during which he questions Parker about his mysterious past. Presley agrees to do one family show without his trademark moves, but it is a disaster. Presley gets a lot of flack for it and is furious at Parker for making him change. Gladys blames Parker for their woes. B.B. King is Presley's mentor and runs a African-American club downtown. He advises Presley to start his own label. He also says that there's no way Presley, a famous white boy, will ever go to jail for dancing like an African-American. He says there must be another reason why Parker guided him the way he did. I have a lot of problems with this part of the plot, too.
You mean that particular read of the synopsis?
So it's another instance where Baz Luhrmann's just trying to get a whole bunch of exposition in all at once. And in doing so, he makes it out. First of all, he makes it seem like Elvis got arrested. Elvis was never arrested for dancing. He was threatened to a lot, but he never actually was. And they make it out like he does the show singing to the dog and is, that was a nightmare. I'll never do that again. He did a bunch of television appearances back then. And when the networks told him, don't dance, he played it straight. He played ball, man. He was a team player for the most part. You know what I mean?
So they took some huge liberties.
Yes. There's some truth in his friendships that he had with black musicians around Memphis, but there's definitely some artistic license as well there.
I know what happened. Here's what happened. It's a morphine trip.
Yeah.
I solved it.
B.B. King's about 10 years older than Elvis and has said in interviews that Elvis did used to call him sir. I loved the little Richard and Rosetta Thorpe stuff. That was all a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. It really encapsulated. It really showed, again, his inspiration, where his inspiration came from.
It was weird.
And in his song choice, like all artists cover songs.
Yeah.
That was his version. That was his cover of those songs.
Yeah.
Hound Dog.
Except in the credits, he did list himself as a writer.
Yeah, did he do that? Do artists credit themselves in those things?
There's like some unspoken rules, all right? And you can talk to the old school dogs in Nashville circles and stuff like that. And even David Lee is a perfect example. He'll tell you too, hey man, if you're in the room, you take credit. That song was created, you're in the room.
Write a word, get a third.
You're right, exactly. And really, honestly, I get, why some people are like, that's bullshit. But really, is it? Because let me ask you this. The environment that is created, if you're creative, for you to be able to do something like that and to write a hit song, there has to be a lot of elements. The sun, moon, and the stars have to really come together. And there has to be a certain vibe. And not only that, dude, either it's inside of you as one individual that you're able to extract that out and just paint this picture and make people feel it and be able to be that lyrical genius, even if it's only for one song, because you might write 10,000 songs in your life and only one of them does anything. And that's why David told me, he goes, where's your catalog? I go, what's that? And he started laughing. He goes, come talk to me when you have 1,000 songs written. And he goes, and I'm not talking about good songs. Just write 1,000 songs and then we'll talk. No. And I don't want them all to sound the same. And yeah, dude.
Aaron Lewis made a good career writing the same song over and over again.
Blasphemy. I won't stand for it.
Nickelback made a great career writing the same song over and over again.
Songwriters. That's why they are so famous.
Actually, I will say this on Nickelback's behalf. Everybody can talk all the trash they want about them, but live performance-wise, them dudes fucking put on a killer-ass fucking show. I've seen them in Vegas a couple times, and I've seen them in San Antonio. We were traveling with family. The first time I saw them was with 3 Days Grace and Save and Abel, and you want to talk about it. Oh, yeah, dude. And that was back like when Save and Abel and 3 Days Grace were hot. You know what I mean? And Nickelback was on their third album, I think. Yeah. And, dude, yeah. Oh, my God.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than going to a show for a band that you really like and then finding out they don't put on a good live show.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Puddle of Mud.
Puddle of Mud.
I mean, I love you guys.
Deftones.
They don't watch this show, but it just in case.
Deftones is horrible live.
Yeah. There's a lot of crap bands. That,
I saw Deftones. They were fantastic. With Aaron Lewis from Stain. Screw you, buddy. That was awesome.
So I saw Blues Traveler at the Majestic in San Antonio,
I'm
and
jealous.
I was fucking really excited about it. And they get set up, and John Popper has this like little pop-up table that he sets right next to the microphone stand, and he's got like all of his harmonicas all laid out on this table, but he's also got 3 big cups. And on the side of the stage, he's got this kid over there mixing drinks, and he'll do a song, belt out all these harmonica, do it really well, and then grab one of those drinks and look. And when those drinks start getting low, he starts beating on that table, and that kid will run over there and refill them and get them all set up. And then as the show goes, he just starts to slur and start to miss and loses timing. And it's not a good show. It's disappointing to watch.
Hey, man, I can attest for myself, dude. I didn't realize until I stopped drinking performing how really terrible all of those nights I thought I was killing it. And I go back and looked at the video sober, and I'm like, you fucking dumbass.
Yeah, we have all this setup right here. So occasionally we'll get in here and turn the cameras on and play some music. And it only happens when we're drunk. And playing it back the next morning, you're thinking that you captured some gold, that something in there is going to be usable. And you go back and you're like, dude, we were fucking drunk and this is garbage. You know what I mean?
Not taking away the fun factor. And there was a lot of time I wasted in my career doing the party thing and chasing the babes and doing all that stuff. I spun my wheels in the mud. I didn't want to listen to anybody. I had it all figured out and everything. And it's ironic.
But that's a part of paying your dues, man.
It is, but it's ironic to turn around and then become an educator on the same things that I screwed up on. But who makes the better teacher than the person that's done all of that?
Yeah, nobody's going to listen to somebody who hadn't made any mistakes, man. I have no respect for somebody that hadn't faced a little adversity in their life. Nobody interesting. I've never met anybody interesting that hadn't had some adversity and faced some shit and did some things wrong and is willing to talk about it. That's the big thing, is a lot of people have made these mistakes and won't talk about it. They act, I never made any mistakes. Bullshit, man. You're fucking human like the rest of us.
Man, I've screwed up radio promotion deals, and I've told clients, hey, I really didn't like the outcome of that, and because of that, I'm going to do one comp for you on the next one, or offer you a substantial discount for the part of it I feel like you didn't get by 100%. We're all human, man. I spent a month in the hospital after I lost a toe. That was pretty detrimental.
Hold up. You're missing a toe?
Yeah, my right foot, man.
Bro, I only have one toe on my right foot.
Oh, wow. You're missing a bunch of toes.
I have 6 toes total.
Oh, wow. What happened?
I have one normal foot, and my right foot, now, I didn't have to go to the doctor for this. I was just born, like, if I'm missing a bunch of bones. So if these are my toes, and this is my, like, thumb toe, I don't have bones there. I don't have these bones. I don't have those bones. I have these bones, but they're, like, fused together into one toe, and then I have an extra bone that goes across.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
Are you like on OnlyFans selling those pictures to those feet freaks?
Is there a market for that?
1,000%.
Have you ever considered selling feet pics?
No, because no one's ever told me I have nice feet, so possibly I'd be open to it. If you want my feet pics, hit me up.
Do you want to buy my feet pics?
I'm good.
Do you want a free one?
No.
I have nice toes.
I believe you.
Hey, buddy, there's a market.
It's weird.
Okay, oh, man, here I go sounding like Parker now.
Yeah.
Let's exploit your foot for money, dude. I'll throw mine in the mix.
Yeah.
We'll go 50-50.
I want to hear from the fans. If you're willing to see foot pictures on Patreon, comment in the comments.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Okay, so after Presley's charged dance moves at a concert, the singer faces potential legal trouble. Parker persuades the government to draft Presley into the U.S. Army instead to avoid legal entanglements. During his military service in West Germany in 1958, for 2 years, Presley is devastated by his mother's alcoholism-induced death. Parker replaces Gladys and handholds Presley out of depression. Presley finds some solace when he meets Priscilla, the adopted teenage daughter of a United States Air Force pilot. After the discharge, he resumes his movie career, and years later, he marries Priscilla in 1966. They had a honeymoon on Frank Sinatra's jet. Presley gets movie work for Priscilla and his entire Memphis Mafia, and Lisa Marie was born shortly thereafter.
And
I have problems with this part of the synopsis as well. The idea that Colonel Parker negotiated the army to draft his fucking meal ticket into the army and risk him getting murdered is just absurd. That is not what happened, man. First of all, you can't. Yes, there were people who were sent overseas in lieu of going to jail, but Presley was never in danger of going to jail for dancing. That's absurd.
Oh.
There were threats, yes, but it was never a real risk. And the idea that Colonel Parker negotiated, just send him to Germany. No.
Okay.
Didn't happen.
But there were threats to send him to jail, yes?
Yeah, but come on.
But you don't think that the colonel was in part
This is America.
of that not happening? Or it just didn't happen because they were just threats?
To happen because they were just threats. And like I said, whenever he would go on television, for the most part, he would play ball. They'd film him from the waist up, and he would mostly play it clean.
So where did the threats come from in the first place? Why? For what? Just because rock and roll? They just found that
teetotalers back then, man. People like this senator. It's a real thing, but the idea that like they were really going to take him to jail. Come on. You know what I mean?
But the question is, like, what were the threats from in the first place? Just because it was rock and roll? Or
it was it was lewd to shake your hips and thrust your pelvis.
Oh, shit, yo.
That's his whole fucking MO, man. That's the whole thing he did.
Yeah.
And
you know
but
that-
you're saying he played ball, though. Did he play ball every time? I don't mean to not ignore you.
No, I think it's hilarious, man. Y'all are like two brothers that like got high and watched this movie, and now y'all are duking it out over it. And I'm getting to be like the referee in the background. I'm like, all right, fair fight, guys. Come on. Touch gloves. Come on, shake hands. Come on now. Hey.
But Sebi, look, you've got this client. Your client is the biggest act in the fucking world. Do you negotiate to the U.S. to fucking draft him into the army and lose your fucking meal ticket for 2 years?
No.
No. Fuck no.
Not unless you're a fucking idiot. No.
And everything that we know about Colonel Tom Parker, does that seem within his character for something that he would do?
Not really.
Nope.
I don't. Yeah. No, you might have a good point there, but I can't see guys like that, dude. There's some wicked brilliant people out there that they're so non-conventional in their methods and what they do that people think they're absolutely fucking batshit crazy, and they're turning it around and they're showing you with results. I might be crazy, but here's $50 million.
No.
So my crazy shit works. You can't put it past the guy. He did a lot of crazy stuff, dude.
Yeah, but I'm not buying that part. Just not.
He even admitted
plus,
that he wasn't. He even admitted.
It's not like this. It's not like Baz Luhrmann's doing a fucking great job of being historically accurate in the fucking first place. He wrote a movie with the clear intention to be from the villain's point of view.
Right.
And so that's what we're looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even Parker admitted that he wasn't in it for the music, right? No, there was a quote that he famously said that said, "I don't know anything about music, but I know how to make money."
He was a snowman, and the snowman needs a showman.
Oh, I thought when you said snowman, I thought he was addicted to coke or something, or he was a supplier or something.
Some people theorize that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Was it
slang? In this movie, Snowman is supposed to be like a carnival barker or somebody
which he was,
who puts together a good show. That's the idea.
Them drug dealers put together. Yeah, they put together a good show too. They're snowmen. It's fitting, man. I've seen some shit shows. Oh.
Yeah. Colonel Parker really did put together like this League of Snowmen, and he was like the Grand Pontiff of the League of Snowmen. And when he would induct new members into the club, he'd give them like a rule book, like this big book. And their first couple of pages like had some stuff. And then the rest of the pages were all blank. And he would tell people a real snowman knows how to read between the lines. You know what I mean?
Check this out, guys. In Carney slang, to snow someone means to deceive, charm, or con them, essentially to sell them an illusion. Okay, a snowman
There's a con man.
is a person who does the conning, a master of persuasion, misdirection, and showmanship.
Yeah.
Exactly what he was.
Yeah.
Now I really
100%.
like this. Now I really like this. Now I learned something new. And I love it. I love it when I get to learn something new. So now I know how to use
Origin
snowmen
story.
Yeah, I know how to use snowmen in my ridiculous posts that seem to chat people's buttholes and they think it's about them here lately.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody with a cocaine addiction is going to be, he's talking about me.
Yeah, he's all paranoid, all high, peeking out the blinds. He said he's
Picking out the
coming.
blinds and looking on Facebook. Ah, Mark's out there. Yeah.
He's out there. He's going to see me through the camera on my computer.
Yeah. The funeral scene. They show Elvis like hiding in the closet. Witnesses who actually attended the funeral say that Elvis set up a chair right next to the casket and sat there talking to his dead mother like they were hosting a dinner party to everybody who came in the door for 3 days straight.
You think he was high as fuck?
Oh, 100%.
I would have been.
I have a huge moral quandary with the Elvis Presley Priscilla relationship. Priscilla was 14. My daughter's 14. This would be like if Justin Bieber joined the army and fell in love with my daughter.
It's a problem.
I'm like, nope, we're not doing this, dude.
The times they are a changing.
But do you think that girl's dad was like, man, it's fucking Elvis, dude. He's rich.
100%.
Yeah, fuck it.
Which
Yeah.
is still wrong.
He's like, I know,
Doesn't
but
make it right.
no, but I'm just saying that's probably why it was allowed to go down because most dads would kill a motherfucker.
Yeah. Vernon remarried 2 years after Dolores' death. None of that's in the movie. And in this part of the movie, we get, whenever he's meeting Priscilla, we get a great cover of Fools Rush In. Really good cover of Fools Rush In.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
As the popular culture of the 1960s passes, Presley by, the Beatles were on ascendancy. The assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy devastate him. Although he wants to become more politically outspoken in his music, Parker only allows him to release frivolous, feel-good songs for Christmas special television. However, this does not dissuade him. He meets Steve Bender, played by Darcy Montgomery from Stranger Things. Presley's performance choices in the special, including the closing number of If I Can Dream, are presented and perceived as acts of not only his past songs, but also political commentary. Infuriated corporate sponsors threaten litigation, while it discusses Parker believes Presley has been brainwashed by hippies. Nevertheless, the show is massively successful. This is another part where at least he included it in the movie because it's a very important part of Elvis Presley's career, the comeback special. But it's 100% false on how all of this happened. Yes.
Trip.
Yes, the Colonel did market it to NBC as a Christmas special. No, Elvis isn't the one that hired Steve Bender. NBC did. Steve did not want to do a Christmas special. He wanted to take it in a different direction, and NBC was okay with that. The idea that Colonel Tom Parker was running around in a fucking Christmas sweater saying, "Here comes Santa Claus is next," is fucking 100% bullshit. Did not happen.
He was hitting the slots, man.
Now, in a documentary, Steve Bender is quoted saying that Colonel Tom Parker would call him Mr. Bindle. That's a real thing.
It appears that a lot of them had gambling problems. And then right after what you're talking about in 69, what happened with the Vegas residency thing.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
But I want to focus in on this 69 special because there's a lot wrong with it. We skip right over the opening part of the Christmas special where they're on this little tiny square stage with an audience all the way around. Very unique kind of stage setup for the time. Nobody else had really done it like this. Now you see it all the time. But
It's a good point.
they make it out like it was filmed over 2 days. It was actually rehearsed over 2 weeks before they even started filming. Elvis Presley had a apartment set up in the building so that he didn't have to travel from Beverly Hills all the way over to the studio every day. And Steve Bender heard the music. So Elvis would have all the musicians after rehearsal come hang out in his little apartment, and they would sit around and just pick and grin and jam out and have fun. And Steve Bender was like, "This is the special. We record it like this." Colonel Tom Parker was like, "No, that's intimate. That's behind the scenes. That's not what we do. We're putting on a show. We're not doing behind the scenes." but he let him record it anyway, thinking that I'll shoot this down. We're not going to use it. It's going to be garbage and we're not going to use it. So they sit around on this square stage in a circle facing each other, and they talk and they joke and they play music. And it's the first time on television you see this music in the round that's you see all the time nowadays. You can go to the Redbird in New Braunfels almost any night and see it done that way. Wednesday nights, they're doing it at the Goat. The Bluebird in Nashville is famous for that kind of style. But this was the first time in 1969 that it was really done on television, thanks to Steve Bender seeing Elvis do it, you know, after rehearsal. And it was a hit. It's really good television, man. Even today, it stands up.
Yeah. Yeah. It took the words right out of my mouth.
Then there is the If I Can Dream part, the finale. And in the movie, they make it out Elvis stayed up all night after Robert Kennedy was shot, and he wrote this song. Elvis did not write this song. It was written by Walter Earl Brown. Steve Bender was looking at a bunch of different songs to use to close this out, and it was really his choice to do that when he brought it to Elvis. There's a documentary where they talk about it, and he says that they play it for Elvis, and Elvis stands there next to the piano, listens, doesn't really react at all. They finish the song, and he says, play it again. And they play it again and again, and Elvis starts to get in there and make it his own, and it became what it is. And it's a great story, and they didn't need to take the artistic liberties they did in this movie and make it out like Elvis wrote the fucking song.
Yeah. That is a great story if you give a shit about the process of music.
Yeah.
I do.
Me too, big time. As a songwriter, as a musician, and even on the other side of the desk, people get it twisted. I think some people don't know, hey, this guy was actually in the trenches. He was a performing singer-songwriter. He was out there. He was performing. He made a living. I made a living doing it, man. I was blessed, dude, and I cannot thank the fans and all the industry people and the other artists that supported me on my journey. And it's cool to, man, be on the other side of it and be able to give a little bit back and do some stuff. On the flip, man, yeah, I got to make money, but I do a lot of stuff out of the kindness of my heart. I really do.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
You really do.
That's what people don't understand about networking. I know so many people that they'll go to a networking event. What can all of these people do for me? That is not how you network.
What can I do for these people? What can I do to help these people?
Where can I be of use? That's how you network. What can I do to benefit everybody else in the room? We have another Coke, right? I got one right here. I'm going to need that. Sorry, it's that part of the show that is not sponsored by Jameson.
Yeah. Oh, not at all. It needs to be. It really does. God,
call me Jameson
make a drink.
or My Lemon Green or Andalusia. Call me.
I got my Coke Zero and some unsweet tea, but
that wasn't the last of it, was it? Of the Coke, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, man, you're drinking Jameson. You don't need no fucking
Let's
Coke.
take a break. I think there's a little bit in your, like a 1 liter bottle in your fridge.
Calling all musicians and industry pros. Do you want to turn your hard knocks into breakthroughs? Season 2 of the Hard Knock University podcast is proud to be sponsored by SMG Academy, the ultimate music industry mentorship platform founded by 20-year veteran Mark Sebi. SMG Academy delivers real-world training from touring strategies to publishing secrets straight from the trenches of the Texas music scene. Whether you're an artist, a manager, a songwriter, it doesn't matter. SMG's courses and community will fast-track your success. Are you ready to level up? Visit smgacademy.online and use code HKU2025 for 15% off of your enrollment. SMG Academy, where hustle meets harmony.
No?
Parker is infuriated that Bender is guiding Presley that he no longer needs Parker. Bender gets more involved with Presley and books him on overseas tours, paying $1 million per night. He says that Parker refused 2 such offers in the previous year, although they can't figure out why. It is revealed that Parker is under gambling debts. Plus, there was no Colonel Parker to begin with, and Parker is actually Andres van Kujic, an illegal immigrant from the Netherlands. Lots of exposition shoehorned into one scene again.
You're a historian. Go.
At the end of the night, Elvis could have made a ton of money playing overseas, but Andres van Kujic was not fucking having it. And it's because he did not have a passport. And he was most likely wanted for murder in Holland.
They didn't say that in the movie.
They did not. And because there's really, it's speculative.
Did you know
there's
that?
no hard evidence, but there's
that?
tons of speculative evidence that he was wanted for murder in Holland, and that he fled when he was like 20 to escape being arrested for murder, and ended up in America. He joined the army, served in the army for America for a little while, back when you didn't need any records. You didn't have to prove who you were or how old you were.
Now, didn't they say in the movie that he pretty much considers that to be him being a citizen, was enlisting in the army?
Yeah, he's quoted as he eventually came out after Elvis's death that, yeah, I am an illegal immigrant. The way he put it is that he was a sovereign citizen and no citizen of any country, but that he felt like his service to the United States Army qualified him for American citizenship.
Now, how do we feel about that?
I gotta say, man, don't ever use the word sovereign citizen with any of the Comal County Sheriff's Department. It doesn't go over very well.
They have a bad taste because there's a long ongoing
There's like a movement
dispute between some folks that we're close friends with and the entire family who claim citizenship of the Republic of Texas. They look at it like we were a republic before we were a state. We were illegally annexed, and that we are technically still the Republic of Texas.
No, you talking
This
about?
is probably
No, and I'll bleep that. And
I was just curious, man. I know you can edit, but I was curious.
yeah, no, I don't know who that is. I'll edit all of this out. But,
yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Anything you need to edit out, dude. This is your podcast. I was just curious, man. Sorry,
But
not to get sidetracked.
the patriarch of the family, but it goes on beyond him to his parents and all of his brothers and sisters. But yeah, they don't claim United States citizenship. And it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing where people claim that they're citizens of the Republic of Texas.
I feel like it's a great topic for your other podcast.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, dude. Hell yeah.
There's a documentary about this girl who was born in Kerrville to this family who had this train of thought. And so they never even went to the hospital to have this child and didn't register this child with the federal government. And so now that this girl who's about my age has grown and is an adult out there on her own, she has no social security number. She is technically not a citizen of the United States because her parents didn't give her that. They were of that whole Republic of Texas sovereign citizen thing. Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
My mind's blown, man. And like, I know it's not like I've never heard any of this stuff before at all. I've heard even crazier things, but it just blows my mind every time that you like have somebody cover like a specific example of it. And you're just like, what the heck, man? Can you imagine? So you wouldn't know any different though. If you were raised that way, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
How
It would
would you
make a
know what
fun,
to do?
obviously wrong segment that just doesn't fit anywhere
That's
else.
exactly what I'm getting to. What do you think about the name Obviously Wrong?
Yeah, I started a second podcast called Obviously Wrong with Mark Caples, and it's stuff that doesn't fit in any of these other narratives for the syllabus of the Hard Knock University. I just do these side journeys. They're only like 16 minutes long, and I just go off on a tangent.
I think it's brilliant because the name is brilliant because the name itself washes you clean of anything that you say that may be political or controversial. Because
it's like going
he's
to
obviously
confession.
wrong.
You're going to confession. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive me, Father. I've sinned again and again.
But
I know I'm going to do it again. But
I invite everybody to tell me, why am I wrong? Tell me. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean?
So y'all go check out Obviously Wrong with Mark Caples.
Thank you, Mr.
yeah. Yeah.
After the special, Presley headlines at the largest showroom in Las Vegas, the International Hotel, and then resumes concert tours. Parker's control of Presley's life tightens further as he refuses Presley's request for a world tour, despite initially promising him and manipulating him by making it look like there are death threats against Presley and by staging attacks on stage on him at the International Hotel to make the threats look real and credible. into signing a contract for a lengthy Las Vegas casino residency at the International Hotel. The grammar in this is just garbage. These synopsises, I say this on every single episode, but they're written by just people that submit them to IMDb, and IMDb decides which one's the best one.
We got to figure out another way.
They always need edits, grammatical edits.
Hey, hold on. Have you thought about taking those and putting them into ChatGPT and training a project to like proofread them? Since they're already done, it might be able to do, if you put it in deep research mode.
That's a really good idea.
And you put that bot, you got to start a brand new project, okay? Or a new chat, and then stick with it, man.
So I actually have a subscription to ChatGPT, and I can create my own GPTs.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you create a GPT that's like its whole purpose, and you teach it,
that's it,
you know, how to do its job correctly, and it makes it super easy to do.
He's totally going to do what you just said.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, no,
I want to have you on. I'm going to do the AI roundtable where I want to have some people on to sit around and talk AI. What I need, though, is somebody who is adamantly against AI to sit in on this conversation. Because what I'm running into is too many people.
Everyone.
I'm running into too many people who are like, fuck yeah, AI is a great tool. Let's talk about why. And I'm running into, I know people who are like, no, fuck AI, no fucking way. The problem is they're not willing to sit down on the podcast and talk about it. You know what I mean? So I need somebody who's willing to have that conversation on camera.
Absolutely be down for that. And I will tell you, man, if it's used properly like a tool, it's a great tool. But in the power of corrupt people is where we're going to have the problem with this stuff. People that are all about profit, and they're all about taking advantage of people and taking advantage of situations. And that's going to be the downfall of a great tool like this. But if you use it with integrity, and it's your ideas, like you already did your research, found your material, and you're making your own deal. You using AI is not you cheating. You're using it to fix some grammatical stuff and to make your script flow a little bit better. It's already a script that you've already invested in. You paid money for the software to do all this stuff. You've invested in it. You have the right to do that. And AI is a tool. So I do know people that are super against it. I will find the most radical one I can possibly try to help you have that person in the conversation.
Yeah. It's not my quote, and I don't know whose it is, but somebody said, AI is not going to take your job. Your coworker who's good at using AI is going to take your job.
Very well put.
Yeah. And it's 100% true.
I know. We're talking, AI wasn't around when Elvis was doing all this shit with Parker, though, was it?
No.
Or maybe it was.
No,
maybe he was.
just the patriarchy.
He was
Just for the deep state.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that
deep is
Parker
it?
ever staged death threats.
What?
There's no evidence that Parker ever staged death threats. The scene where they're planning that opening show for the Vegas residency, and he's like, all right, give me a drum beat, do a little dum 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 dum, and I need a dum dum, and then with the horns I need a bum 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 bum. That part, dude, that is so much. That's exactly what it's like.
That is
when you're
exactly
what it's like, man.
You should have been in the movie, bro. You did that. You did really well.
But all three of us have been in the room when you're doing some new shit with a bunch of musicians, and there's always somebody, and I want to hear like a dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the drummer does it, boom boom, and he's like, yeah, just like that. Just now, give me a pa-dum, pa-dum. And there's always somebody, and everybody, we get it, and maybe they're a little off. Maybe they give them a pa-dum, and they're no, not like that, but yeah. You get there, and I'm reminded of a conversation that you and I have had a dozen times about flow state. When you're playing with a bunch of musicians and you're halfway into this song and everybody's just nailing it. Everybody's in tune in the right key and on the right beat. And you get into this flow state, and it's like you're in a different plane of existence. And you're just floating on this cloud that you have created
together
with all of these other people with your mind power. You know what I mean?
And this is why I want to start a music podcast.
And I don't think that any music movie that I've ever seen really did a good job of expressing the flow state. And this isn't that.
Except for Soul from Disney.
Oh, that's right. Soul from Pixar, I think.
Did you see it, Mark?
Oh,
I don't do
so
I don't do a
Trent
lot of
Reznor-
Disney these days.
Yeah, but as a musician,
So Trent Reznor and Jean-Baptiste partnered to do the soundtrack for this movie Soul, which is about a musician who dies and his soul trying to find its place. And that is the only movie that does a good job of expressing that flow state and what it really is in a very artistic way. 10/10 on that movie. Mwah, chef's kiss. Good movie. Go watch it.
yeah.
Let's
All
let's
right.
come
You
back
gotta-
here
you
and
gotta-
talk about
you
it.
gotta send me that link to it or something, dude.
Yeah.
On that
Yeah,
one.
I'll send you
So I
the
can check it
trailer.
out.
Go watch it. We'll come back on here and we'll talk about it. It'll be great. What else? Good job on bringing it back around to That's All Right. He's, give me the boom and the dun dun dun, and then he points at the girls. Give me a That's All Right, and they do That's All Right. You know what I mean? And
You gotta, dude.
they bring it back. And then they even cut back to Gary Clark Jr. as Arthur Coldrip doing the That's All Right in the juke joint.
Do.
Yeah, in the little farm shack.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
He really did great.
It's really good
I
cinematography.
liked it.
Yeah. They have the big show. Elvis Presley kisses every single girl.
Is that real?
Yes. Yes, that's a real thing. Elvis Presley would kiss every single girl. Full mouth. Man, it was
Oh,
bad.
let me taste what you taste like. Oh, that's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Girl, I'm going to brush your fangs for you.
I wouldn't, as a singer, I wouldn't risk it. What if you get mono? You can't sing.
Oh, he was on so many.
Is mono big in the 50s?
He wasn't just getting all of the drugs for sleeping and performing. He was getting the penicillin as well.
Yeah, for all the
I mean-
syphilis.
How many times did Elvis get strep her throat?
Not once. He had so much penicillin running through his veins.
Strip her throat.
Parker goads Presley into doing U.S. tours instead. 15 cities in 15 days in 1969, 70, 71, and 72. Presley's behavioral issues and prescription drug addiction overtake him, and a despondent Priscilla divorces him on January 8, 1973, taking their daughter Lisa Marie with her.
Because he was kissing all those ladies.
100%, yeah. Presley discovers that Parker cannot leave the country because he is a stateless immigrant named Andreas Van Kujic and fires him on September 3rd, 1973. Now, in the movie, they do it very publicly on stage. Where
Bullshit.
Elvis has this kind of thing where he calls out the colonel in front of everybody.
Okay.
And it makes for good cinematography. It's very intense when it happens, but it did not happen.
Yeah.
It's not what happened.
I have a confession to make. During that scene in the movie, when I watched this movie, the second time I watched this movie, because I watched it the first time in 2022 when it first
Sure.
came out. But then in preparation for this, I watched it for the second time. And during that scene, I was like, hey, man, is this how this fucking went down, bro?
Because if so, it's legendary.
Yeah, because fucking Elvis is awesome. What? That's so rock and roll.
Yeah,
If
I had the
that's how
same
it-
thought. I had the same thought.
He
So
did
fucking rock and roll.
He came across like a badass for sure. He really did.
Yeah.
He
So I
definitely did.
Googled it. It didn't happen that way.
It
Not
didn't.
even a little bit.
It didn't. But he did fire him, and Colonel Parker did send him a bill, and
Yeah,
it did
fired
really
him.
change his mind.
He brought him back, though. So what does that tell you? Listen, and also, I wanted to say this a long time before, but apparently a lot of the Elvis family to this day still speaks highly of Colonel
Colonel Parker, yeah,
Parker.
that's true.
So does that mean that he was actually, for realsies, a good dude? Does that mean that
well-
he's that good of a fucking manipulating con artist?
Another thing that this movie doesn't talk about is that Colonel Parker was married twice, all during all of this. He outlived his second wife. So after he died, he had this widow who did documentaries and interviews, and she had nothing but good things to say about this guy.
Yeah, but he was a genius branding person. He branded himself. The snowman was a brand.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of
He
people
even
bought it.
handed out little trinkets, little pins and pendants. Did you know that? Little snowman pins and pendants. He was proud of the moniker.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Moniker.
man.
Did I
Y'all
use that
y'all
term
are
correctly?
you did.
Thank you.
Y'all are making me like really, I'm going to have to research a little bit deeper on this whole snowman thing and how that.
This is what I love about this, man.
No, because I caught some of that stuff, and I didn't get the second chance to watch a movie. I saw it a little while back, like probably a year and a half ago. So I was like, oh crap, I don't have time to squeeze in and watch that whole thing. So I caught some clips, and it brought back some memories of some of the parts that I was like, oh crap. But I need to like really go back, and that's full transparency, and watch the whole thing now. Because if nothing else, the little vague knowledge I had, now I'm like, wait, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I do remember that, but I don't remember it like the way you're describing it.
I hope the audience is getting the same notion.
Now you know what to expect from the format for when we do these. And season 2, so I did a survey on Facebook before they shut down my account. And the overwhelming majority wanted season 2 to focus on these music biops and movies about bands and musicians and such. So all of season 2, we're going to dive into. In fact, I might even save this one for the season 2 premiere. I might not even air this in season 2. It might be the season 3 premiere. We'll see. And I might bring it back for Christmas. Who knows? But
that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing about shooting these, man. You're creating content, and you're helping somebody do what they need to do so they can use that content in order for them to better their brand and you got to help each other like that. You really do.
But we're definitely going to do Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. We'll do Ray. We'll do the Johnny Cash one. We'll do Bohemian Rhapsody. We'll do them all, man.
Dude,
What's the one with Val Kilmer and the Doors? Got to do that one.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
I actually saw a really good documentary about Guns N' Roses the other day. I mean,
Docs would be good to do.
The documentary was entertaining. It wasn't a boring one at all. I could not stop watching it. I'm a huge Slash fan. That guy's one of my idols as far as guitar players, probably in the top 3 for sure, if not number 1.
He's a monster for sure.
But the whole story behind everything that happened in that band, dude, there's some crazy shit that I didn't even remember, and I followed them pretty tight for years and years. I was a huge fan.
You see the International Hotel in this movie a lot. It's now the Westgate, and it does not look anything like in the movies anymore, that movie anymore, because now it has the convention center coming off of it. There's the monorail that goes around, that goes right up in front of it. There's Elon Musk hyper tunnels that go under it. It's all so much more built up. Las Vegas is
You've been to
than
Vegas,
it is in this movie.
We get it.
He's trying to take us now. What, you haven't been to Vegas, dude?
No, man, I've been nowhere. I've been
nowhere, man. Been nowhere.
I've been in New Mexico in the oil patches and Tennessee, and that's about it.
Parker invents the live streams. So he doesn't ever take Elvis outside of the country, but he creates these satellite concerts. He invented that decades before it became mainstream.
I don't know if we're there yet for this conversation, but it's a damn shame that the Colonel had a line that he drew because he had that debt.
Yeah.
Because of the thought experiment, like, what would have happened with the Colonel and Elvis if they had gone international? Because what's ironic is that the Colonel, from the get-go, really pushed Elvis as a world icon.
But never takes him in
right
the
from
world.
the get. Exactly.
Yeah. Biggest star in the world.
And what if he would have? Then what would have happened? Look, not only how much money would they have made, but would Elvis have gotten depressed and burnt out and went to drugs?
No.
Dude, man, you got to think about that, though. All right. I know I'm a musician. I don't know what Mark's been through or not, but I'm going to speak for myself and a lot of people I know in the industry. A lot of us, not all of us, have at least experimented with some form, fashion of drugs or partying or something, right? Most human beings have at some point, people in general. But for some reason, it's always been dubbed like that because of our backgrounds or whatever, that we're more of the party animals or whatnot. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man, but addicts are addicts, dude. And I know plenty of people that have never touched a guitar that can do more drugs or take more pills or addicted to pills. Addiction's a really serious thing, man. That's deep stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And this movie does a good job of expressing that. You see, these guys are pumping him in full of drugs so they can perform, pumping him full of drugs so that he can sleep. And then
I don't know that they did a great job of portraying that.
I feel like they did.
Here we go.
Dr. Nick was one of the key fucking characters in the movie.
I'm thinking of one scene.
You didn't pay enough attention because Dr. Nick is constantly there in this part of the movie that we're talking about now. Dr. Nick is always there.
Okay, maybe
When Colonel Parker in his morphine trip is talking about setting up the tour of the nation where they went to Denver and Omaha and all these places, he says that Dr. Nick was there to give him medicine so that he could perform. And then when they'd get on the plane, medicine so that he could rest. And then, of course, I was getting medicine for his syphilis and all that kind of stuff.
See, there's the problem. I'm a visual guy, and it was all in the exposition.
Yeah. Parker and Presley argue over Presley's $8 million debt to Parker and the record label for his numerous lavish expenses, straining Presley's relationship with his father. Parker is able to convince Presley of their symbolic relationship, and while they rarely see each other afterward, Parker continues as his manager. They have that really good Rock of Eternity quote when he's getting in the elevator. Good circle back to the beginning of the movie. It says the Rock of Eternity is forever just beyond our reach. It's good stuff. It's a good movie, man. Presley continues rigorous schedule of shows that leaves him increasingly exhausted. In 1974, before his death on August 16th, 1977, Presley expresses his greatest fear to Priscilla of being forgotten after he dies. At one of his final shows on June 21st, 1977, in Rapid City, South Dakota, Presley, now bloated and pale, sings Unchained Melody and ends the performance to thunderous applause. As he finishes his recollection, Parker dies on January 21st, 1997, impoverished and alone, while Presley is beloved worldwide and is the best-selling solo artist in history, with his influence and legacy on music continuing to this day. Parker's financial abuse of Elvis was exposed after Elvis's death in a series of lawsuits. He settled out of court. And the problem with settling out of court is that there's no record of the court proceedings. So when, you sue a company and the company settles out of court, there's always like a gag order. We're going to settle and you're not going to talk about what happened.
So you don't know exactly what really happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, for all you know, he could have been a saint and Elvis could have been like the devil.
I doubt it, but yeah.
But I'm just saying. It's
only the Colonel, Elvis, and JC knows for sure.
True.
On that scene, though, Elvis mouths, "I will always love you" to Priscilla, which is an interesting nod because Elvis Presley was going to cover "I Will Always Love You" by Dolly Parton until the Colonel actually called Dolly Parton the night before they were supposed to record to tell her that he's going to take 50% of all of the royalties. And she just was like, no fucking way. Turned down the deal, cried herself to sleep that night. But in 1992, Whitney Houston covers it, and it's number one on the charts for 14 weeks. And Dolly ended up making a ton of money off of that song in 1992. But there's also a callback to A Star Is Born. Priscilla asks him about that in the back of the limo, and he just, no. Colonel Parker also crushed that deal. He was going to star with Barbra Streisand in A Star Is Born. Chris Christopherson ended up playing the role, but Tom Parker turned it down because he didn't want Barbra Streisand to overshadow Elvis as the star, and it portrayed an artist's career in decline. And that's where Elvis's career was. And so it hit too close to home. And Colonel Parker didn't want to do the music in the round thing because it was too inside baseball. It was too real. And he's about putting on a show. A show is fake. It's smoke and mirrors. That was Colonel Tom Parker's sweet spot. And A Star Is Born with Elvis Presley probably would have been Elvis's best movie ever. The rest of them are fucking garbage. Let's be real. He did like a good movie early in his career. And then they tried to like reinvent that same fucking movie with just different themes over and over again. And it was garbage. They were all garbage.
Eddie Murphy did the best making fun of that whole scenario with all the Elvis movies. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll have to send you a link, dude, a little clip. I'll send you a clip, dude, so you can laugh later.
You have to. And then
we're going to run this race.
The podcast.
I won't put the clip on the podcast.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's the plot. That's the movie. But Baz Luhrmann did a pretty good job. Again, there's a lot of stuff that's not true, but it makes for really good cinematography. You know what I mean? So I can't fault him there.
Anytime I've ever been on morphine, it wasn't really true what I was experiencing.
Yeah.
I've never done morphine, by the way. That was a joke.
So what I always do on these is I take the different teams. For this one, we've got Colonel Tom Parker, we've got Elvis Presley, we've got Steve Bender, and I give them all like their own little business plan. So we have starting out Colonel Tom Parker with Jamboree Attractions. His business plan, his core product is Elvis Presley, but he markets him like a circus act meets all-American icon. His revenue model is exploitation based. There's revenue sharing there. It's 50-50. And there's a merchandising deal and international rights just locked in. There's no, this dude's got like all of the rights to everything. There is no side deals. You know what I mean? Strategy is to saturate the market with Elvis and control all the deals and prevent outside interference. As a growth tactic, he manufactures scarcity and mystique through aggressive media control, live performances, and a military service plan. Again, I don't think that really happened, but in the movie, that's what happens. And so we're going to treat it that way. So my leadership and project management analysis of Colonel Parker, his strengths is that he's got visionary branding. This dude understood how to package and sell a myth, not just a man. He was a sales savant. He could talk a penguin into buying sand. This guy could talk a toothless man into buying a pack of toothpicks. He was the single point of control. He managed all logistics, all of the deals, all of the partnerships, arguably too fucking much. But you put too much power in the hands of one man and it corrupts every single time. So his weaknesses were his manipulation. He was very manipulative. He had poor risk management. The Las Vegas residency overexposed Elvis and ran him into the ground. And then lack of adaptability. Colonel Parker was not good at pivoting. He was a stick to the plan kind of man, even when the plan proved to not be the best course of action. And that's not a good leadership trait. He's the master of short-term wins at a long-term cost.
It's like he didn't even give a chance for the plan to go wrong because he manipulated so far in advance.
Yeah. His leadership style was more about control than collaboration.
It was control. It was beautiful because he kept full control, yet painted the facade of control to his family.
Yeah.
Was it his dad? Was his manager?
Yeah, that was 100% just to appease the family.
I really like how you broke that down in full show fashion of your tradition of doing this. And I love the fact, Mark, that you really did nail from the movie. I think you really nailed. You did an excellent job of analyzing the Colonel.
Thank you. Thank you. So then we have Elvis Presley. His business plan, so to speak, his product is the same as the Colonel's. It's the King. He's mixed raw talent, when he was young, this rebellion and his sex appeal with gospel roots and this love of black music, and to create the King of rock and roll. His revenue streams were live shows, records, film contracts for which he was underpaid, and merch, which he was also underpaid on because he had the Colonel just milking him dry. His growth strategy is to expand appeal across racial and generational lines through his mixing of genres in his performance. For his leadership and PM analysis, his strengths are that he has emotional intelligence. He can read an audience and deliver a fucking experience. He was good at that. And he had an instinct for innovation. He combined gospel, blues, and country music before anybody else was doing it. Now that's just what you do when you create music, is you mix genres. But he pioneered that and made it what it is today.
Normalized it in the 50s.
And he was an inspirational leader. People were loyal to him and admired him, even when he was beat up and exhausted. His team had buy-in. They loved him. The Memphis Mafia, still to this date, the ones that are still alive have nothing but good things to say about Elvis Presley. His weaknesses, that he was horrible at delegation. He relied way too heavily on Colonel Tom Parker.
But wouldn't you?
If he had diversified his advisors and had been able to listen to Steve Bender and other people like him that had great ideas for his career trajectory.
Okay, let me ask you something from somebody to somebody who has worked with family. How long did the Colonel and Elvis work together? I would imagine the Colonel established himself as
For about 25 years.
as like family to the Presleys.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the family is still mentioning him afterwards, yeah, there was a lawsuit later on down the road. But I think if I'm remembering correctly, for some time, like and you even had said it earlier, Seth, about the fact that the family praised him even after it was all said and done.
That's what makes the story so interesting. Is like in the movie does it. He asks in the morphine trip. He doesn't ask. He says something like, "I was painted as the villain," which opens up the question, was he the villain though? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying.
We just did Maleficent for Mother's Day, and they do the same thing where I was painted as the villain. But at the end of the day, you're like, I agree. You were painted as the villain. And in this one, same thing. He's going, I was painted as the villain. But at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, that's because you were.
Yeah.
But it's good, man.
It makes for great storytelling whenever you're like, is this person a villain?
Certainly, the thing that we've learned about every one of the villains that we've discussed on this podcast is that they all see themselves as the good guy.
Yes. Yeah, it makes for great storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
they
think-
are the hero of their own stories.
I think that's human nature, though, in some aspects, and especially in the music.
We're all player
In the
one,
music,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, but think about it. Yeah, well, in your reality, you better be player one. But think about it. Think about that just for a minute, man. And how many times that we've been that person and I've caught myself doing it way too many times, even later in life after I learned my lesson the hard way and going through the school of hard knocks. But it's human nature, man, for us to put that spotlight, to put that I don't know what it is, man. It's like it's almost like trying to one up people or something. I don't know.
Oh,
it
yeah,
runs,
yeah.
it runs really rampant. Yeah. It runs rampant in this
pressure.
industry. Yep. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It's across all industries, man. In the construction industry, people can get real tacky.
It's life.
No.
It's in life.
So yeah, the delegation deficit, burnout risk, he really has not many boundaries, and he's managing a unsustainable workload that the colonel is feeding him. And then he's got this avoidance of leadership. He escaped into comfort instead of embracing conflict. He could have took the colonel to court and fought that $8 million bill, but it wasn't worth it to him, man. At the end of the day, he was like, let's go back to the way it was and send Dr. Nick back up.
But he loved him. He would never do that to that man, maybe.
Yeah.
I relate to that a little bit. With you and Brothers in Model and Design. You know what I'm saying? We never got crossed or anything, but...
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but that's for a different podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to have y'all on for that podcast. We'll do a Mark After Dark. We'll do a Mark After Dark ungloved.
Yeah.
The
Mark versus
brothers.
Mark. Mark versus
Ding,
Mark
ding.
after dark. That'd be great.
Yeah, Mark versus Mark After Dark with Seth.
Yeah. Yeah. But I have a hashtag hard knock lesson for Elvis right here. That talent isn't a project plan. You need structure, boundaries, and the courage to lead your own career. Leadership without ownership is just survival and sequence.
Yep.
All right. Then we have Steve Bender, the director of the 1968 comeback special, and arguably Elvis's comeback career architect. His business plan, the objective is to reinvent Elvis for a new generation while honoring his roots. The delivery strategy was the live musical TV special. And he was innovative with his stage setup, the unfiltered performances, the gospel interludes, and just putting Elvis in a leather suit in full command out there and saying, you go do you. You know what I mean?
So wasn't he trying to like rebel in this scene of the movie?
And yes, but that's not what happened in real life. But
yeah, I know, but I love that the movie portrayed it in this like rock and roll rebellion fashion.
And so
Like,
for the sake
stick
of
it to the man.
Yeah, and for the sake of the character Steve Bender from the movie, yeah, his biggest adversary is Colonel Tom Parker in this.
I feel like that was the attitude of Elvis and Steve, but they constantly had to battle that fucking colonel who wanted to overproduce and make it all bubblegum and ribbons and
so his leadership and project management strengths and weaknesses. His strengths, he knew exactly what storytelling needed to happen and fought for it against Colonel Tom Parker. Where Colonel was trying to do a Christmas special, he was like, no. He would manipulate the Colonel. He'd be like, we're starting with Here Comes Santa Claus, right? And he's like, oh, the Christmas stuff comes later. And keep him at arm's reach and keep the show moving. That gets into his next big strength, stakeholder management. He played Parker like chess. And in doing so, he protected Elvis's legacy and his integrity. And he was agile. He was able to adapt and format the content on the fly to capture real world moments. When he saw the guys playing in the apartment, that's what we got to do. Let's do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Y'all good, you.
Weaknesses, risk exposure. He took on a huge culture and professional gamble, but it paid off. And then the magnitude of the conflict that he was getting himself into, he nearly got fired and had to walk a tightrope of corporate and personal agendas. But he did it really well in the movie. It was impressive. There's a quote in the movie that makes a great hashtag hard knock lesson. Steve Bender says, we're doing this differently or not at all. I like that.
That really is good. I wish I had caught that. I love that.
I didn't catch it either, man. That's a really good one.
I want to write that down. Wow.
So
we're doing this differently or not at all.
Man.
So we have Colonel Tom Parker, the dictator stakeholder, using control for leadership, strong arming his way through innovation. Then you have Elvis Presley, the just fucking visionary behind it all. But we learned that talent needs infrastructure.
He was the creative behind it all.
Yeah, but he was missing that leadership link and delegated
too heavily on.
Yeah, delegated leadership to one man. Yeah, and that was his problem. Then you have Steve Bender, the maverick project manager, who is great at pivoting and adapting and taking the stakeholders' vision and being able to come up with a plan to execute on that. So for our leadership and project management rating scale, we rate them on a scale from 1 to 5. So 1, train wreck in a suit. 2, survives but doesn't really thrive. 3, they're solid under pressure, but they have a lot of room for growth. 4 is strong and self-aware and can inspire and deliver. But 5 is just a legendary leader or project manager who could herd cats through a fucking tornado. So my scores. Let's start with the Colonel.
I only did the Colonel.
Let's do the Colonel last then.
Okay, I can off the cuff do your other.
Yeah, and then we'll do the Colonel last.
Okay.
Let's start with Elvis Presley. So I gave him a 3.
Or leadership or project management?
Okay, I gave him a 3 for leadership because he inspired millions. He challenged racial boundaries with his music. But he needed to assert some boundaries. He failed at that. He didn't. I've talked at length about his poor delegation and delegating to one person and just trusting that person with everything.
I demand more impressions of how he led a song, like rehearsal.
That was again inspired millions.
Mr. Sebi, I tried.
Inspired millions.
You know, he can always just take that clip from earlier and put it right in there.
It's true. Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to this right now. There's 2 things you need to know. I'm the king. And number 2 is look out, man. Look at it coming at you. You see that? It's called karate, man. And only 2 kinds of people know it. The Chinese and the king. But one of them is me.
You're the king.
Come on, man. Look on. Say it on there now. Turn around. Sit around. Look out, man.
What the fuck was he talking about?
my hard knock verdict for Elvis on leadership is that he's just a natural leader, but he has unrefined leadership muscles. He needed to work his leadership muscles. He was a great front man, a good face of the brand,
Super creative.
but not so much at the CEO. Now for project management, I gave him a 2 because he didn't run his own projects. Others did. And mostly Colonel Parker did. Even when they could have gone better, because he had so many wins in the past, that absolved him of everything.
So because you think he would have done good if he, in a multiverse,
He put a dictator in charge where he should have had a board. He should have had a CEO, a COO, a CFO.
yeah, but why not 1? You gave him 2.
Because he didn't run any of his fucking projects by himself. Oh,
How do you think he'd have done if he didn't have a colonel
Why
to
not a
rely on?
why not a 1?
Because
Because at the end of the day, he was still the fucking best solo performing artist of all time. And you can't give him a fucking 1 for that.
Man, I feel you, dude. I feel you, bro. But I'm saying in the first instance a 2, and I'm saying where we're at right now, a fucking 1. I'm sorry.
A 2 for
Now
leadership
explain.
and a 1 for project management. Okay.
You gave him a 3 for leadership, right?
Yes.
Man, I'm not discounting some of the things you pointed out. Almost made me wonder, was it really a 2? And then I really had to think about it. In all fairness, I think that Elvis's strength wasn't in being a leader, and it definitely wasn't in his ability to manage any task or do anything like that or create any kind of hustle and bustle to make shit happen. They pointed a finger and said, you're going to be here at this time and do this. And you go, okay.
Yep.
You got it,
100%.
boss.
Yeah.
2 and a 1.
Seth?
I'm not going to taint what y'all just said with my retardation. I won't do it. I have a hard time arguing with what y'all said, like every other episode.
Next, we have Steve Bender. For leadership, I give him a 4.5. He walked into a media circus and saw soul and turned it into a show. He convinced Elvis to reclaim his career. He navigated the problems that he was facing with Colonel Tom Parker. And at the end of the day, he completely succeeded in that project that he was put in charge of. Of course, that's leadership, but I'm also giving him a 4 for project management. The special, it was a high risk thing. He said, clearly, I don't do Christmas specials, but he took on this whole thing and turned it around. He had a tight timeline, high stakes. He juggled the TV executives, the creative direction, script rewrites, emotions, and emotions of his star, Elvis, emotions of Colonel Tom Parker, but he delivered on time, on message. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. The special stands up. You can watch it every fucking Christmas and be like, this is dope.
Didn't watch it. It was on my radar and I was going to and just kept living my life.
I got to agree with you 100%. But the only difference in how I would rate it is I would say 5 all the way across. There is nothing harder than taking somebody that's had a successful career and then done something to screw it up or taking time off and taking a break, and all of that's gone, and that buzz and to be able to take that and to breathe life back into it. It's like he gave CPR to fucking Elvis's career, dude. And I got nothing but mad respect for that. When you dig in, you start working with artists that are just difficult. There's difficult personalities to work with as artist management and as a radio promoter, just like there is in what you do in construction, in anything in life, vet clinic. It doesn't matter. But it's all those different personalities and knowing how to manage that. And that dude did a bang up freaking job of taking something that was completely down in the trash can and bringing it back up to the top.
So Colonel Tom Parker, for leadership, I gave him a 2. Why? He could command a room.
Yes.
And spin a narrative. He's great at campaign ads and shit like that.
Charismatic.
But he led by manipulation and secrecy and fear. And he was always protecting his interests, not the team's. Elvis wasn't a partner in all of this. He was the product. And that's not leadership. That's fucking puppeteering. You know what I mean? So influential, sure. Inspiring, no. Not unless you're selling snake oil. For that, I give him a 2. For project management, I give him a 4. Because say what you want, the fucking man delivered. He managed the branding, the logistics, the appearances, the distribution, the press, contracts with ruthless efficiency. I'll buy it a little shaky with the ethics. From a cold project management standpoint, he hit scope, he hit schedule, and he hit cost, but he did burn out the team in the whole process, Elvis. So I give him a 4. Solid project manager if your project doesn't mind crying in the green room between shows.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah, I agree pretty much. I'm right in line with what you're saying. But when it came to the ethics part of it, I would have to lower that score you gave him just based on that alone.
He was morally bankrupt.
Yeah, and definitely a 1 in the first category because he's a piece of shit, dude. Let's be real.
Yeah, in leadership, yeah. It's funny, it's confession time. Every episode, I don't know if this episode is going to be season 3 or whatnot, but for season 2, every episode, I've just been like, yeah, Mark, whatever you say.
We might do it as the season 2 finale to tease season 3. I don't know. I hadn't made up my mind. We'll figure that out.
In any case, I also put 2 for leadership for literally everything you said, except a slight difference. Like I wrote down things like he lacked empathy.
Yeah.
He just constantly dismissed.
No empathy. You're right.
Yeah.
Just constantly dismissed the views and values of his family and his team and him. He wanted to go international, and he wasn't going to have it. So, yeah, 2. Project management, I also thought he was better at that than he was leadership. Much better. So I gave him a 3.5 and gave him a 4. I gave him 3.5 because it's funny, way earlier in the podcast, you said the very first thing that you said was good about his project management was he was a visionary. And that's the very first thing I wrote down is he was a visionary. He really was. He was great at marketing and merchandising. He got him into movies and TV appearances. He was good with the logistics, with the tours and the TV appearances, I already said. You mentioned risk tolerance earlier. I wrote that down. His risk tolerance as a project manager, I think, was good because we talked about it earlier. He framed him early on as a world icon, and he was right.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that he didn't let him go international, he was a world phenom.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of stuff that makes my brain go, what if? If he had gone international?
What if, but I love the fact, Seth, that you appreciate the beauty of him holding it back like that, because there is something on FOMO and the fear of missing out or not being able to get something or not having access to it makes it more important and more special. And dude, as hard as that probably was for Parker, other than now we know a reason why he was acting like that, obvious reason. But at the same time, it worked in his advantage because of, man, it pulled it out of the grasp of everybody else. And it was like, you can only see him if you're in the United States. That's the only way you're going to see this guy.
Great point.
I think a great hashtag hard knock lesson for Colonel Parker, or to be learned from Colonel Parker, is that the School of Hard Knocks issues legitimate degrees. Colonel Parker came up in the carnival, and then he created the highest selling solo artist of all time. If you got a resume from a guy and it said, I was a fucking carnival barker just before this, and now I'm managing musicians, would you put him in charge of your whole fucking career?
Yeah, man, that's a tough call right there, man. I like me some carny folk. Don't get me wrong, man. Not knocking none of them, but let me hand you my golden artist here.
But he did it.
Just getting out of the carnival. Yeah, but he did it.
I wanted to ask you, Mr. Sebi, in all your wisdom and experience, what would you do with an Elvis? What would you do just like the Colonel?
This is a great question.
And what would you do differently from the Colonel?
I obviously probably wouldn't have had the success. Who knows? that the Colonel had. It's hard to say that, but just being an outsider looking in, if you're asking for my personal opinion on what could have been done better, I don't like the fact that he held him back from doing international tours. I don't think that was a good thing at all, but he held him back from being able to do those tours.
Let's do this. Yeah, have you seen the movie Freaky Friday?
No.
Where Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis wake up and their personalities are split?
Friday. Everybody knows Freaky Friday.
You're going to make me watch it after this shit. And I probably
don't watch Freaky Friday.
It's not worth it.
Read the book. The book's better. No, it's the book's for fifth graders.
The books are, hey man, the books are,
it's still better though.
Better.
But okay, you wake up tomorrow morning and it's 1956 and you are Colonel Tom Parker. What do you do different? And everything that you know now, you get to relive all of this in Colonel Parker's shoes. And now you know that you're running from murder in Holland. You know what I mean? You are Colonel Tom Parker and it's 1956. What do you do different?
Shit, I wouldn't have let him go international either. You really do have to put the shoe on the other foot, man. You're trying to protect yourself and now you're caught up and maybe you just took this on initially. Wait to make a quick buck, right? And thinking that you could duck out and that once you got your money, but then you saw how much frickin' money it was and that you were actually really good at doing this shit with Elvis. So I can't say I would have done anything different because I've never been in that position, man.
So
that would be
I got the answer.
Right.
If I wake up tomorrow morning and I find myself in Colonel Tom Parker's bed and I am him when I look in the mirror and I know everything that I know today, I never fucking ever walk into a casino. Not fucking once. You'll never see me gamble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got a good point.
For the same reason that you don't play video games.
For the same reason I don't play video games. It'll ruin my fucking life, and I know that.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, dude, because Parker did have a bad gambling problem. Bad gambling problem.
That is the root of all of the problems, man. Yeah. He had instead, if he'd taken his 50% and invested it, and made smart choices with it, bought real estate, bought a share in the fucking casino instead of pumping it all into the slot machine, the dude he was friends with Steve Wynn, Kenneth Wynn, I think that's his first name, who's Steve Wynn's younger, dumber brother, was Colonel Tom Parker's assistant. The guy was connected. And if he had not had that gambling addiction, he could have been one of the most richest people in the world. Did you know that when Elvis Presley was at his height, he was the highest paying, him and the Colonel together, because they made the same amount of money, were the highest paying taxpayers.
Paid. Oh.
No, they paid more in taxes than any other taxpayer at that time.
I did read that.
The Colonel was hyper vigilant in making sure that he never did anything that would risk him getting deported.
I'm so glad you touched on this because I did read that.
He didn't take advantage of a single tax loophole.
And it solidifies the fact that he was a fugitive on the run.
This guy, him and Elvis together would just pay the full balance in taxes and not claim any kind of deductions, nothing.
Because he didn't want that smoke.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, and they're going to come looking for it.
Yep. He was a smart man. He really was.
He was smart.
He had some ethics problems and he had a gambling addiction, and that was his downfall. But at the end of the day, amazing project manager, not the best leader.
He was an okay project manager and not the best leader. Nobody wants a leader that erodes trust slowly over time.
Yeah. Again, bad leader. But when you look at the project, and the project is turn this kid from Tupelo, Mississippi into the king of rock and roll.
I'd say
this guy came up from the carnivals and did it.
Man,
imagine.
I'm a carny man.
Imagine the multiverse world where
I just saw Coney Canada at that charity thing that they do out there for the kids that shoot skeet. He did a show with The Departed, and they did a lot of cross-Canadian ragweed songs. It was good. It's a good show. Had a good time. Cody Canada doesn't get enough credit for how good of a guitar player he is.
No, man, he's up that game too, dude. He's always been good, but he's really, over the years, he's gotten so much better. I loved when he first did The Departed. I used to love to go watch him and Seth James when Seth was doing that project with them full time. That was oh my God, that lineup was sick, dude.
You should push your the awards again, because you've really gotten a big following locally in the Canyon Lake area.
Except this will air after it's already said and done.
Oh, that's true. Never mind.
One thing about the awards I will say, and you can air this if you want to, but I talked about it earlier. This is not the cookie cutter. I don't care about all the ads and all of that. I'd rather it be a big underground good time where real people are coming to celebrate these artists that are really interested in what's going on than have some highfalutin big freaking event where everybody expects a red carpet to be rolled out for them and their asses kissed. Because I don't play that fucking game, dude.
That's rock and roll. It's what I'm all about.
Come hang out, have a good time, shake some hands, or shake
I'm going to
some
be there
and kiss some hands.
My wife's going to be there. I'm going to bring the kid.
And have a drink or two. Don't do anything stupid. There's no need for any of that. Have a good time, relax, enjoy the fucking music. Appreciate the fact that we live in one of the best areas for fucking live talent and live music, and that we're blessed in this state with all the talent and abundance. And fuck what chart position and all that. And yeah, it's cool that you won, because these awards, they are based off a chart statistic. Those TIRC awards are based off of radio spins. And then, so how do you categorize that? I have a method to my madness, and that's what makes my chart different, right? So I look at that, but I look at all year long. So I'm looking at when I'm giving those awards out on Sunday, right? I've been looking all year long on those specific artists at what they've done. First, we go off of chart data. Then we look at their accomplishments in that respective category. And I pick what category they fall in because I'm the fucking chart editor. That's why. And I don't want...
Because fuck you, that's why.
No, I don't mean it like that. What I mean is that because...
Hey, I get it. That should be one of Mark's shirts.
Because fuck you,
that's why.
Hashtag HardKnockLessons.
You, that's why. But no, man, in all seriousness and all reality, though, you can sit there and poke a needle at any chart in the world, dude. Every one of them has their challenges, and every different way that it's done. It's just like building a fucking app, guys, or coding.
So
one
let me
little
ask you
broken
this.
piece of code is terrible. Go ahead.
Let me put you in the hot seat. How do you navigate being the chart editor and doing this awards show when some of your clients that you promote are on that chart and eligible for these awards?
Great.
Hey, you want to know something? That is an awesome question. I'll tell you exactly how I deal with that, because that gets brought up a lot. Me having a station that is part of the reporting panel.
You have
a lot of people say, no, a station, radio station.
But I'm saying you have stake in it.
Like,
if one of your artists...
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. All right. I've been that artist. All right. And I had the same delusion that most of them have when they first get into pushing the radio. And that delusion is that getting that number one on the chart, climbing up the charts is the most important thing. And dude, yes, I get it. Everybody wants to see their name on the marquee. Everybody wants to experience that moment. But the most important thing, and I never realized it until it was too late and I'm behind the desk now. But the most important thing was developing my career and building relationships. It wasn't about radio. It wasn't about a trophy. It wasn't about an award. It wasn't about any of that. To say that there's no favor given would be an absolute lie. Okay? There is favor, but to be fair, I don't allow that favor to influence per se spends. Look, dude, if your song sucks, even though I'm promoting, I'm going to tell you, I'm not giving you full spends on my station. I'm sorry. Now, I'm going to say it in a very kind way where I can say,
because at the end of the day, I'm going to lose listeners to the station.
Yeah, but you're
there's
gonna give them advice that helps them make the song better.
Am I doing them any favor if I boost up Drew Moreland to number one just because he's my artist? What does that do for his career?
That's the point, right? That's the question.
Nothing.
Right.
It looks good. It's a flash in the pan, man. It looks good for a moment. And guess what? 3 months later, 2 months, 3 months later, nobody even fucking remembers that you got that number one on the Texas Internet Radio chart or any chart in Texas, really. The number ones that they're going to remember are the ones where you're on every TV station, you're on every national stage.
You're an Elvis.
Thank you. That's the number one that matters. Okay.
And at the end of the day,
you want to run that game, run that game. Run that game. Yeah. It's not doing me any benefit whatsoever to do that to my artist. I'm not doing the right thing if I.
At the end of the day, it would draw eyes when like your chart is lopsided to all of the other charts. It's X artist is number 67 on all these other charts, but number 20 on yours. That's not making sense.
If you understand anything about how the charts really work and what they do, there's two types of charts that are really out there. You've got monitor charts that are monitored by digital monitoring software, and then you have write-in charts. All right. Write-in charts are where the spends are estimated. You send a report in that says, I spun this artist X amount of times. Both of them have their goods and their bads, because any piece of technology, any piece of equipment, anything, any software is subject to fail. Guys, it happens. They go down. You have to maintain. You have to update. You have to, unless you have millions of dollars worth of servers to keep that shit running 24/7, there's going to be a gap in your reporting, and you miss some spends from this artist on this station and this artist on that station. Okay. So there's no 100%. With a write-in, guess what you can do? You can cheat. Oh man, I want to see so-and-so number one this week, so we're going to boost him up here. But last week, we only gave him 10 spins, but this week he gets 35. Man,
how do we influence it more? Is that how we influence it more? By writing in like that?
Well, it all boils, look, it all boils, it's not fans writing it in. It's not the artists or the promoters writing it. It's the radio station program director or whoever
you
does
it. Is you call that radio station and you request that song.
Correct.
That's the way you as a fan helps boost your favorite musicians.
Or
that's a problem. That's too much.
Dude, the whole thing, it's really sad. The whole state of it's really sad because, and you have a great conception in the fact that, Mark, what you felt originally before when you asked the question, open Pandora's box. Don't think that's the first time I've had to answer that question. And I've always had the same answer for it. And I'm not in this to give my guys number ones and trophies. If they earn that, then by all means, hell yeah. But I'm not here to rig elections. I'm not here to do that. I am going to reward the artist that works the hardest and I see making the most effort. Those are the ones that I've got their back and I'm cheering them on. And there's a lot of artists I have relationships with that work with other promoters that I cheer on and I encourage and I support. And it's because they're putting in the hard work and they're doing what it takes to actually develop a career in this industry. They're not punking out and selling out and buying some banner on a radio station so they can get 40 spins that week so they can climb up the chart. They're letting their promoter do his job and call that station and use his relationship in order to build that and to build those spins up. And that's what it's all about. Everything in this industry boils down to your relationships. And that's going to dictate the outcome. And what you put in and honestly put in and work, and harder you work, the more you get out of it. But if you're not willing to do that, don't even fucking try to be a musician or try to get in this industry, because it is a cutthroat, sorry ass fucking full of a bunch of great people, but a bunch of pieces of shit too.
Much like life and the whole MO
World?
with Leadership Knocks.
It's universal, but it's certainly even more so in the music industry. Mr. Sebi, Mark of the SMG Academy, let all the listeners know where they can find you, what you're going to be up to in the next couple of months. And if you got any final thoughts to close this out, we'd love to hear them.
Just go on over to SMG Academy. It's smgacademy.online is the best place to find me right now. If you're interested in radio promotion, anything, I want you to start there anyway and sign up for that free newsletter there. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you tips, tricks directly right from me, straight from my mouth, things that I'm working on, projects I'm doing. I might highlight an artist, a song. I might share some really great stuff out of one of my courses or ebooks with you, just absolutely free. Definitely go by there and sign up. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a free tier, there's a paid tier, and there's a free tier. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Jump on that tier, and if you find value in it, then subscribe.
Then you can, yeah, man. I mean, that works like anything out there, man. Yeah, I'm going to give some free advice. I'm going to give a little tidbits, but the best meat and potato stuff, guys, I worked hard for 20 years and then spend another 5 years putting this all together in the academy. I got to charge for it. I can't give it all away. Sorry.
Yeah, been through some knocks.
But if you want to do the subscription, there's a lifetime membership that you can get. And if you use the coupon code SKU2025, then you can get 15% off your subscription.
That's right. Now, let's make one thing clear, because I meant to talk to you about that. I'm cool with that promo code except on that lifetime deal.
Oh, Okay. Does not apply to the lifetime. Gotcha.
Just so you know, if you're pitching it, just does not apply to lifetime, because let's think about that for a minute. Do the math on a top tier membership, right? $39.99 a month, I believe, is the highest I have other than the lifetime. And do that for 5 years. What do you get?
Oh, fuck.
A lot.
You'll make me break out the calculator?
A lot. I'm terrible at math, but that's a lot of money.
Right.
Is that the point?
Okay.
No, the lifetime membership is a steal all on its own without any kind of discounts.
That's
applied.
right. But any of the other stuff, yeah, man, give them, I don't care about that. Give them the discount. I don't care. But on that lifetime deal, no, because at some point I have to cut that off, because you can't
100%.
base your whole foundation on a lifetime deal. You have to have a good mix. You know
and
what I mean?
the coupon code expires when?
Let's run it till the end of the year.
All right, perfect. You got till 2025 to get 15% off of your monthly subscription.
And we just decided to do that right here on your show, man.
Everybody go to smgacademy.online. Check out Mark Sebi. Follow him everywhere. All of the medias are social. And Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Some of them are antisocial too, man. Don't forget.
Certainly so.
Thank you all,
looking
man.
forward
Thank
to
you
the
all for
next
having
one.
me.
Go watch Soul. Maybe we'll do that one next. Either way, we're going to do something next. All right. Good night, brother.
All right. Y'all have a good one. I hope to see y'all on Sunday, man. There's 2 tickets
Likewise.
waiting at the door for you.